Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really ripping the lid off some of that conventional wisdom we've all been told for generations.
That old advice, right?
Yeah, that core idea to study hard, get a safe, secure job.
We're digging into source material that just, completely challenges that by setting up this powerful contrast.
It's the story of two dads. On one side, you have the highly educated, poor dad, a PhD government employee.
And on the other, the entrepreneurial rich dad who was a high school dropout but became a massive investor.
So our mission today is really to unpack the 6 key lessons from that clash of worldviews. The lessons that seem to separate people who are financially secure from those who are, well, just perpetually struggling.
And this whole thing really started from a crisis, didn't it? The co-author, who is this very successful accountant, she suddenly realizes that all that academic success, it just wasn't preparing her own kids for real life, for financial life.
I found that anecdote so powerful. Her son is just refusing to do his homework, saying he'll never use it.
Yeah, and he points to Bill Gates and Michael Jordan as proof.
Right. Proof that you don't need a traditional education to be wildly successful.
And that kind of protest, it sets the stakes for this whole discussion. I mean, the source material basically argues that relying on that old advice, the safe job, is now the most dangerous advice you can give a kid.
So let's unpack that broken promise of security, because that's the fear that drives this whole system, isn't it?
It is. I mean, think about it. When a big company downsizes, what happens to its stock price?
It usually goes up.
It goes up. The market loves it. So the employees lose their jobs, their security, but the owners and the investors, they win.
They're the ones who benefit from the cost cutting.
Exactly. So if you're only an employee, you're fundamentally a pawn in someone else's game. You're just dependent.
And that dependence, that's what leads us to this metaphor they use, the rat race. It's not just about working hard, it's a psychological trap.
It's a trap, yeah. And it's driven by two of the most powerful emotions we have, fear and desire.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, the fear of not having money, of being broke, that's what makes you get up and go to work.
The stick.
Right. And then you get the paycheck. That's the carrot.
And the desire kicks in.
The desire kicks in. You want a bigger house, a nicer car, maybe you've got kids. All of that means more expenses, more debt.
So even if your income goes up, let's say you get a promotion, or your spouse starts working.
Your taxes go up, your mortgage goes up, your credit card debt goes up. You're running faster and faster on that little wheel.
Just to stay in the same place.
Exactly. You're trapped. You're working for the company's owner, for the government in taxes, and for the bank that holds your debt. And the worst part is, you pass that same advice down to your kids.
And the cure for this trap, according to the source, isn't just to make more money.
No, absolutely not. More money often just makes the problem worse, It accelerates the bad habits.
Money without financial intelligence is money that just disappears.
That's the line. Intelligence is what solves problems. Intelligence is what makes money.
So if the rat race is the problem, financial literacy, just the basic vocabulary, has to be the starting point for the solution.
Which brings us to lesson 2. It's probably the most fundamental rule of all.
And it is.
Know the difference between an asset
Yep.
and a liability, and buy assets. That's it.
So let's get those simple rich dad definitions.
An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket.
Okay.
A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket.
It seems so simple. Too simple, maybe.
It is simple, but most people get it wrong. The middle class is constantly buying liabilities that they think are assets.
And the number one example of this confusion, the one that really gets people riled up, is the family home.
Oh, absolutely. This is the big one.
Your poor dad, the traditional view would say, your house is your biggest investment, your greatest asset.
And Rich Dad's view was that your house is a primary liability.
Okay, I have to push back a little there because for most people, the equity in their home is their biggest nest egg. So why is it a liability in this philosophy?
It all comes down to one thing. Cash flow. Does it put money in your pocket each month or take it out?
Well, it takes it out. You have the mortgage, property taxes, maintenance.
Insurance, upkeep, all of it. Money is flowing out of your pocket every single month. And then there's the lost opportunity cost.
What do you mean?
That money you used for a down payment, say $100,000, that capital is now trapped in the house. It can't be invested in things that actually generate income.
So a rich person's financial statement shows income flowing from their asset column.
Right, from stocks, rental properties, royalties, things that pay them.
And that income stream easily covers their expenses. Meanwhile, The middle-class person's income comes from their job and flows straight out through their expenses and their liabilities.
That's the picture exactly. The rich focus entirely on building that asset column.
Which brings us back to the philosophy behind all this. Lesson 1. The rich don't work for money.
Yes.
And this was taught through that crazy story of them working for 10 cents an hour.
It was designed to teach them an emotional lesson, not a financial one. It was to make them feel the pain, the futility of just trading your time for a tiny paycheck.
So he wanted them to feel that fear and desire cycle firsthand.
Yes. The fear of being broke makes you work. Then the desire for more things makes you spend. He called it the tar baby. The more you struggle against it, the more stuck you get.
And that's such a mindset shift. He even said that when creditors are calling, you shouldn't panic and pay them from your savings.
No, you should use that pressure as a motivation to come up with a creative solution, to spark your financial genius, as he put it.
Don't give in to the pressure, use it.
Master your emotions and you gain control. And that leads directly into lesson 3. Mind your own business.
Meaning, if you're working a 40-hour week for someone else, you're minding their business, not yours.
You're making them rich. Your business is your asset column. That's what you need to focus on, even if you keep your day job.
And a classic example they use for this is Ray Kroc and McDonald's.
It's a brilliant example. Kroc would go to MBA classes and ask them, what business am I in?
And they'd all say, the hamburger business.
Of course. And he'd say, no, I'm in the real estate business.
Because the hamburgers were just the mechanism to control the land under the stores.
That was the real asset. So the lesson is, don't just focus on working in the system, flipping the burgers. Focus on owning the system.
Which means owning assets like businesses that don't need you there. Income-generating real estate, stocks, bonds, royalties.
Things that make money whether you show up to work or not. If you have to be there, it's a job, not an asset.
Okay, let's shift to the more technical skills here. Lesson 4 is all about taxes and the power of corporations. The sources claim that taxes, which were kind of sold with this Robin Hood idea of taxing the rich,
actually ended up punishing the middle class the most.
So how did the rich get around that?
They just understood the power of a legal structure, the corporation. It's really just a folder of legal documents, but it lets you play by a completely different set of rules than an individual employee.
And the critical difference is the order of how things get paid.
Exactly. As an employee, you earn money. The government immediately takes its slice in taxes, and then you spend what's left.
Right.
A corporation, though, is legally allowed to earn money, then spend money on all its expenses, and then it pays taxes on whatever is left over.
So just so we're crystal clear for you listening, if I earn $100 as an employee, the government might take 30, and I have 70 left to spend.
That's the basic idea. But if your corporation earns $100, it can spend $30 on legitimate business expenses, a car, travel, meals, and then it's only taxed on the remaining 70.
That's a huge difference, a monumental difference.
And that is a core pillar of what the source calls financial IQ, understanding the law.
Which brings us to lesson 5. The rich invent money.
They're not just waiting around for a good deal to pop up.
They're creating opportunities.
Right. By combining 4 key technical skills. 4 pillars of financial IQ.
What are they?
First is accounting, or, financial literacy. The ability to actually read a financial statement and understand the story the numbers are telling you.
If you can't read the language, you're flying blind.
Totally. Second is investing. The science of making money. Understanding strategies and formulas for growth.
Third is understanding markets.
The science of supply and demand. Knowing what people want and seeing an opportunity before everyone else does.
And fourth, as you just mentioned, is the law.
Using those corporate structures for tax advantages and, just as importantly, for asset protection. The wealthy often control everything, but legally they own nothing that can be easily taken from them.
Okay, and that brings us to the final lesson. Lesson 6. Work to learn, don't work for money.
This is a tough one for a lot of highly educated people. It's about prioritizing skills over salary.
And they use that great anecdote about the reporter with a master's degree in English.
Yeah, she was a great writer, but she was offended when it was suggested she learn how to sell.
She thought selling was beneath her.
Exactly. And that specialization, that ego, it made her financially vulnerable. She had one great skill, but couldn't market it or manage a business around it.
So the idea here is to get a job for what you'll learn, not just for what you'll earn.
You've got it. Focus on those broad skills. Sales, marketing, communication, managing people, managing cash flow.
Because a bigger paycheck today might keep you in the rat race.
But a new skill could help you build an asset that will get you out of it for good.
So when you pull it all together, all 6 of these lessons, it really feels like it boils down to one mandatory shift. You have to move your focus away from seeking security and toward aggressively seeking intelligence.
That's it. At the end of the day, your ultimate asset isn't a building or a stock. It's your mind. It's the financial intelligence that lets you see opportunities others miss.
And a big part of that intelligence is having the right attitude,
Right.
being able to handle failure.
Oh, absolutely. The source says it requires guts, patience, and a resistance to failure. If you're terrified of losing, you'll never play the game. You have to be willing to fall off the bike to learn how to ride.
Which leaves us with a final, I think, very provocative thought for you to take away. In a world like ours, where information changes overnight,
The question really isn't so much what you know.
because what you know today could be outdated tomorrow.
The real question is, how fast can you learn?
That ability to adapt, to challenge those old ideas, that's the only real security there is.
So the choice is yours, really. Lifelong learning and intelligence, or the promise of security that might not be there tomorrow.
Choose wisely. We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.